You know that feeling when you wake up in the morning and your knees or hips just don't want to cooperate. Maybe you've even caught yourself saying, "I'm not as young as I used to be." Well, what if I told you that some of the stiffness and discomfort you're feeling could actually be helped by what's on your plate? That's right, food isn't just about keeping hunger at bay. The right foods can be powerful allies in keeping your joints moving smoothly, so you can keep doing the things you love, whether that's gardening, playing with your grandkids, or even just enjoying a pain-free walk around the neighborhood. Today, we're going to talk about 5 incredible foods that can help fight joint pain naturally. These aren't some strange, hard-to-find ingredients. They're simple, delicious, and might already be sitting in your fridge or pantry. And the best part, they don't just help with joint pain. They're great for your overall health too. Now, before we get into the first food, let's talk about why this matters so much after 60. As we age, the cartilage in our joints, that smooth cushion between bones, can start to wear down. Inflammation can build up, making everything feel stiff and achy. But here's the good news. Certain foods can actually help reduce that inflammation, support cartilage health, and even lubricate your joints, so they move more easily. So, let's start with the first superstar food for joint health, fatty fish. Now, if you've been avoiding fats because you think they're bad for you, it's time to rethink that, at least when it comes to fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. These fish are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which are like natural inflammation fighters. Think of them as tiny peacekeepers in your body, calming down the swelling and stiffness that cause so much discomfort. And you don't need to eat fish at every meal to feel the benefits. Just 2 or 3 servings a week can make a real difference. If you're not a fan of fish, you can also get omega-3s from flax seeds, chia seeds, or walnuts. But fish is the most potent source. Try baking salmon with a little lemon and dill, or adding sardines to a salad for a quick, joint-friendly meal. Now, the second food on our list is one that might surprise you. Cherries, especially tart cherries. These little gems aren't just sweet and delicious. They're loaded with antioxidants and compounds that help reduce inflammation. In fact, some studies have found that drinking tart cherry juice can help ease joint pain almost as effectively as some over-the-counter pain relievers, but without the side effects. Here's why they work so well. Cherries contain anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep red color. These compounds help block inflammatory pathways in your body, which means less pain and more freedom of movement. You can enjoy them fresh, frozen, or even as a juice. Just make sure to look for unsweetened versions to keep the sugar in check. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Can a handful of cherries really make that much difference? And the answer is yes, especially when you combine them with other joint-friendly foods. Small changes add up over time, and before you know it, you might notice that getting out of your chair or climbing stairs feels just a little bit easier. And that brings us to the third food on our list, turmeric. This golden spice has been used for centuries in traditional medicine, and modern science is now catching up to what our ancestors knew all along. Turmeric contains a powerful compound called curcumin, which has strong anti-inflammatory effects. Some research even suggests it can work as well as certain pain medications, but without the stomach upset or other side effects. Here's a little tip to get the most out of turmeric. Your body absorbs it better when you pair it with black pepper and a healthy fat, like olive oil or coconut milk. Try adding a pinch of turmeric and black pepper to soups, stews, or even scrambled eggs. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, make yourself a warm cup of golden milk. Just simmer turmeric with milk, or a dairy-free alternative. A dash of cinnamon, and a little honey for sweetness. It's soothing, delicious, and great for your joints. Now, we've covered 3 fantastic foods so far: fatty fish, cherries, and turmeric, but we've still got 2 more to go. These next 2 are just as easy to add to your meals, and they pack just as much punch when it comes to keeping your joints happy and healthy. So let's keep going. Now that we've talked about the wonders of fatty fish, cherries, and turmeric, let's move on to another food that's a real game changer for joint health: leafy greens. You might already know that greens like spinach, kale, and Swiss chard are good for you. But did you know they're also packed with nutrients that specifically help your joints? Here's why they're so powerful. Leafy greens are loaded with vitamin K, which plays a key role in bone health and helps reduce inflammation. They're also rich in antioxidants like beta-carotene and vitamin C, which protect your joints from damage caused by free radicals, those pesky molecules that contribute to aging and wear and tear. And here's the best part. You don't need to eat a mountain of greens to reap the benefits. Just a cup or two a day can make a difference. Try adding a handful of spinach to your morning omelet, blending kale into a smoothie. It's milder than you think. Or sautéing Swiss chard with garlic and olive oil as a simple side dish. If raw greens are tough on your digestion, lightly steaming them can make them easier to enjoy while keeping all those joint-friendly nutrients intact. Now, let's talk about the fifth and final food on our list. One that's often overlooked but incredibly effective, bone broth. This might sound like something your grandmother used to make, but there's a reason it's been a staple in traditional diets for centuries. Bone broth is made by simmering animal bones, like chicken, beef, or fish, for hours, which pulls out collagen, gelatin, and other compounds that are like a soothing balm for your joints. Collagen is the main protein in your cartilage, and as we age, our bodies produce less of it. Drinking bone broth or using it as a base for soups and stews can help replenish some of that lost collagen, keeping your joints cushioned and flexible. It's also rich in glucosamine and chondroitin, two compounds you've probably seen sold as supplements for joint health. But here, you're getting them in their natural form, along with a host of other nutrients. If you're not up for making bone broth from scratch, though it's easier than you think, just bones, water, and time, you can find good quality versions at many grocery stores. Look for brands that use organic bones and minimal additives. Sip it warm with a pinch of sea salt, or use it to cook grains like rice or quinoa for an extra nutrient boost. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually fit these foods into my daily routine? And that's a fair question. The key is to start small and make it simple. You don't need to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Maybe this week, you swap out one meal for salmon, add a handful of spinach to your lunch, or try a cup of bone broth in the evening. Next week, you could add cherries as a snack or stir turmeric into your soup. Remember, this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Even small, consistent changes can lead to big improvements in how your joints feel. And the more you incorporate these foods, the more you'll start to notice little victories, like bending down to tie your shoes without wincing, or waking up with less stiffness in the morning. So, to recap, we've covered 5 powerful foods for joint health: fatty fish, cherries, turmeric, leafy greens, and bone broth. Each one brings something unique to the table, whether it's fighting inflammation, supporting cartilage, or providing the building blocks for healthier joints. But knowing what to eat is only half the battle. The other half is putting it into practice in a way that works for you. That's why in the next part, we'll talk about simple, practical ways to combine these foods into delicious meals that you'll actually enjoy. Because let's face it, no matter how good something is for you, it won't help if it's sitting uneaten in your fridge. We'll also go over a few extra tips to boost the benefits of these foods, like the best ways to prepare them and what to pair them with for maximum impact. Now that we've covered all 5 powerhouse foods for joint health, let's talk about how to bring them all together in ways that are not just good for you, but truly enjoyable to eat. Because here's the truth, the healthiest food in the world won't do you any good if it's sitting untouched in your refrigerator. Let me share a simple way I like to combine several of these joint-friendly foods at once. Picture this, a delicious salmon fillet seasoned with turmeric and black pepper, served alongside a warm spinach salad with tart cherries sprinkled throughout. Maybe even a cup of homemade bone broth to start the meal. That's 3 of our superfoods in one satisfying dinner. The salmon gives you those anti-inflammatory omega-3s. The turmeric adds its pain-fighting power. The spinach provides bone-strengthening vitamin K. And the cherries bring their antioxidant punch. For breakfast, you might try a smoothie with kale, flax seeds, another great source of omega-3s, and frozen cherries blended with some almond milk. It's sweet, refreshing, and packed with joint-loving nutrients to start your day right. Or, if you prefer something warm, how about scrambled eggs with sautéed spinach and a pinch of turmeric? One of my favorite simple tips is to keep a container of mixed greens washed and ready in your fridge. That way, when you're making a sandwich or heating up some soup. It's easy to toss in a handful. Same goes for cherries. Keep some frozen ones on hand, so you can always add them to oatmeal, yogurt, or just snack on them straight from the freezer. Now, I want to address something important. Some of you might be thinking, this sounds great, but what about the foods I should avoid? You're absolutely right to ask. While we focused on what to add to your diet, there are certainly some foods that can make joint pain worse. Things like processed sugars, refined grains, and too much fried food can increase inflammation in the body. But here's my philosophy. Instead of worrying about cutting foods out, focus first on adding these beneficial ones in. As you start eating more of these nourishing foods, you'll naturally find yourself craving less of the inflammatory ones. Before we wrap up, I want to share a story about one of my viewers, Margaret. She's 68 and had been struggling with stiff, painful knees for years. After watching a video like this one, she started making small changes, adding salmon to her meals twice a week, drinking tart cherry juice in the mornings, and using turmeric in her cooking. Within just a few weeks, she noticed she could get up from her chair more easily. After 2 months, she was able to start taking short walks around her neighborhood again. Now, she tells me she feels like she's gotten part of her life back. That's the power of food as medicine. It won't happen overnight, but with consistent, small changes, you might be surprised at how much better your joints can feel. So here's what I'd love for you to do next. Pick just one of these foods to start incorporating this week. Maybe it's adding some spinach to your eggs, or trying that golden milk recipe with turmeric. Then, when you're ready, add another. Small steps lead to big changes. I'd also love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these foods are you most excited to try? Have you already noticed benefits from any of them? Your experiences could inspire others in our community. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. It really helps others discover this information. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to our channel. We create new videos every week to help you live your healthiest, most vibrant life after 60. Remember, your golden years should be about enjoying life, not being held back by joint pain. With these foods in your corner, you've got powerful allies to help you stay active, mobile, and pain-free. Here's to many more years of doing all the things you love.